KZIM, KSIM morning meeting begins.
And QID.
Now.
8:41, time to talk to the Assistant Director of Southeast Missouri State University's Extended and Continuing Education Department. Christy Mershon is in studio. Hi, Christy.
Hi, it's always good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. We don't see each other often enough, and we live half a block apart.
I know, I have to kind of catch up in here, right?
We do. That's because we're both really busy females. That's what happens. I wanted to tell everybody about some of the programs that are available this spring on campus, because they're a hoot. Some of them are a hoot, and I didn't know that these were available.
We have so much fun putting the schedule together every year, and there's so many resources within this community in terms of people who are doing really cool things that you can learn about or learn how to do. I think when you called me, you asked about beer and bacon specifically.
Yeah, I did. How come I always do that?
I don't know. Well, it's funny because I get like Saveology and all these other emails that come in my inbox, and there was a gourmet cooking class in Chicago that was based around beer and bacon, and I thought, well, we can do that here. We have, really good beer and really good bacon, so let's combine that into a workshop and see what we can come up with.
That's awesome. So that's just one of the unique things, but who doesn't drink coffee?
Right.
I mean, everyone drinks coffee. Just today they were talking about the lipstick-sized capsule where you can, inject yourself with caffeine or inhale it. Why would you do that when you can have coffee?
Right. Coffee is, in
your hand.
In my hand. I know. This morning I was like, thank you, Lord, for coffee. But, there's so many different things. Coffee cupping is a really big trend, and it's basically almost like the concept of a wine tasting, but you do it with little bits of coffee, and it helps you figure out, when you taste a coffee, the origin, the flavors that you're getting. So it's very, very similar to the process you go through in a fine wine tasting.
That's awesome. I've never heard of that before.
It's a really cool thing, and there are people here who are trained to do those. We think that if you want to do a gourmet class, a cooking or whatever, you have to go somewhere else. We don't think about the people that we have in our community as resources.
That is excellent. Now, when I saw coffee cupping, you know what I thought it was without reading the definition? I thought it was like scrapbooking and you were decorating cups.
No. And that's what they really call it, is cupping, I guess, because you put it in the various little cups and taste it. But
they've come out with so many different unique types of coffee machines for people who like different flavors. This is groundbreaking. This is awesome.
Well, and the coolest part of my job is every semester when we set these up, I learn lots of stuff. Some of it's useless, some of it's not so useless. But, I didn't know that coffee cupping was a trend either. But as you start to research, hey, what's going on in educational trends and programming, you see things like this, and then you get excited because you learn along the way.
Right. So you can also learn about coffee roasting.
Bob Ekus, who owns Thousand Oaks Winery, has built a little outdoor fire roasting oven, and so he's now roasting all of his own coffees, and it's kind of a cool thing to learn about, and something that really most people could afford to do at home. So that's an interesting class too. And we do a lot more than food, but food tends to be the thing that we're most interested in early in the morning.
Well, everybody's got to eat.
It's true.
Everybody's got to eat, and we all have our little idiosyncrasies and our nuances that we like to go along with our food, including some people don't like to eat bread. They want everything wrapped.
Right. Sue Hill has done for me a number of years sushi classes, and
Sue sushi.
Sue does sushi, and the fish is getting very expensive. And so one of the things we talked about last year is what is something that anybody could do at home, still have that sort of Asian light appeal, but wouldn't maybe be so expensive, because I think we're all looking at ways to cut costs.
Yeah.
So we came up with this idea of just doing simple wraps. So it's similar if you're looking for a light food or light appetizer as you go into spring, but you can do them much less inexpensively than sushi.
Very cool. And I want people to understand that these are classes that you can take if you're a member of the community. They're not for credit on campus.
Correct.
For students, right?
Correct. Students can certainly take them, but they're mainly a way for us to share the resources that the university has with the community. There's a cost associated, but it's just for us to recoup our cost. And like I said, we were doing a number of other things. Frank Nickel, you know Dr. Nickel.
Sure, he's the smartest historian I've ever met. Ever.
He is so cool, and he has such a great repository of knowledge. And so we had a conversation earlier this year about the 200th anniversary of the New Madrid earthquake. And he said, what would be really cool would be to sort of go back and retrace all of the different things that happened along the fault line. So I've got, I think right now, about 48 people who've expressed interest in just going along the fault line and talking about what happened in the timeline and what damage we could expect if we ever had another earthquake.
Are you talking like PowerPoint or actually getting in a car
in
and going?
In a car and going to all the different historic sites along the fault line with Dr.
Great idea.
Nichols. Isn't that cool?
Frank, you are the
he has the
awesomest.
Best ideas.
Yeah.
So that will be neat, and I think it's important to hear those stories now. And we also have an earthquake awareness. In talking about that, I moved on to what would we do today? Are we prepared if we have another earthquake? So that led us to a sort of home safety class. Do you have your hot water heater strapped down? I don't.
No, didn't know I needed to.
I didn't either. Just simple things like that. There's so many things on a basic earthquake checklist that made my jaw drop because I just didn't know that they were things we were supposed to be doing, and we live on top of a fault line.
Yeah.
So we've got a workshop that's based on that. Home health, you and I have both been sick this year.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of things that are like homeopathic health. I don't know where I stand on homeopathic health, but I know it can't hurt.
Yeah. It's funny, I'll come to work and people are like, what is that smell? It's me, it's Vicks.
I know.
It's just me again. It's always me.
It's been the worst winter for that.
It has been. But there is a lot of food. There are the home health things. I like the idea of making wine, too, because everybody loves a good wine. My dad used to make us go pick choke cherries, and then we had jugs in the basement with balloons getting bigger on top of them. So I know that people can make wine at home. Sorry, Dad, I don't know if it was legal then.
Well, and it's interesting because now there are so many more outlets where you can get wine supplies.
Right.
You can do it with great complexity if you're of the mindset of a chemist. You can really get into the chemical breakdowns. Or you can now get simple kits that just sort of say, hey, throw your Smuckers in and do this and that. So there's somewhere along that line for everyone who has an interest. The one that we're doing, the Vine Divino class, is basically, another small winery. They'll talk to you about the process of planting grapes all the way through to production. You get to taste the wines and all the different stages and talk about just how laborious the process can be or how simple it can be if you want to do it in small batches at home.
Neat. And I keep forgetting I live somewhere now where you can grow grapes.
Yeah. And there's so many small wineries, and some people are actually, a lot of people in this area are looking at it as a retirement kind of thing, like maybe I want to start up winery. So this is a good introduction to the business of owning a winery as well.
One of my girlfriends, Lashana, is a very seriously good Latin dancer. She can salsa like nobody else, and people are jealous of her ability, but you're going to make it possible so other people can learn how to be so sexy.
Yes, we're going to try this one. This is a new class that we're adding to the lineup, and the idea was it would be exercise and Latin moves. So if you're not ready, or in my case, if you don't have anyone to dance with, you can definitely do this on your own. And it's good exercise, and it's good fun, too. So
someone as cute as you should have many guys trying to dance with you.
Well,
guys are stupid.
8675309.
Good stuff. No, we're single by choice, fellas. Deal with it. But no, Latin dancing is a great exercise. It takes a lot out of you. You're going to sweat.
Yes, and definitely you will feel that you have been dancing when you're done. Same way with belly dancing.
See, now I can't do that because just the word belly and dancing, there would be just so much reverberation going on with the jiggling of the fat. It's like you get in a swimming pool and you shake and it takes 2 minutes for it to stop.
Do you know what's so cute about this workshop? And we've offered it for several years, and Serena, who teaches it, is wonderful. But we always go on the first night, and it's all women predominantly, and they're so self-conscious. But if I go back at the end of that course period, they are having a blast.
Yeah.
There's something that happens in that dynamic of just having fun that I think they all kind of forget about what you were talking about and become more comfortable with their bodies. I've gotten so many compliments about this instructor talking about, I went in and I was like, everything's shaking around.
Yeah.
And I left and just felt so much more comfortable with myself. So that in and of itself is a cool side effect, I guess, of a fun class.
I mean, watch television. Not all the the belly dancers are perfect. I
Right.
mean, it's an art form, no matter what your size is.
And it is something that anyone can do. I would have sworn that I couldn't do it, but by the end of the class, I did feel somewhat more comfortable. I'm not going to say I'm good.
I'd have to
nor
be in
am I
a
gonna
full
show
body
you.
cast except my butt. That's the only thing that would be able to move then. That would work. That would be all right. But a lot of unique things. I know a lot of people Dancing with the Stars, very popular, so you think you can dance with the different genres of dancing. But the most beautiful is probably...
Ballroom. Yeah.
Exactly.
This class astounds me, I guess, at how popular it is. We have done this in a number of different varieties. It took me a while to find sort of the right instructors. I'm currently using a couple from Perryville. They are just sort of everyday folk. What I found when I used true ballroom instructors was that couples tended to be intimidated, particularly the men. Sorry, guys. And so we've started doing this on a Friday night. Instead of trying to learn every ballroom dance out there, we concentrate primarily on like the waltz and really learning how to do one or two dances very, very well so that you're comfortable by the time you leave the class. I have people who take this one every single semester. They already know how to do it, but they just enjoy the couple time and they just enjoy the fun of being able to go out and dance somewhere.
That's awesome. I'm also thinking that if you're getting wedded, if you're getting married, your wedding or something, the wedding dance, you're going to need to know at least how to do a two-step or a waltz or something.
It always has an interesting dynamic because we'll have, very, very young couples that are getting married and sometimes their families. And then a lot of my classes have a good number of senior citizens in them because people are looking for things to do. And so it really probably has the widest age range of registration of any of my courses.
That makes it even better.
It does.
What you can learn at the feet of the people older than you is just, unending.
It
the
does.
Possibilities.
We had a little couple that they were in their late 60s and we did a swing dance class. And so they turned on some jitterbug music. Oh, Faune, I about fell over. They were the best. They were wonderful. And they said, we used to love to jitterbug.
Yeah, I'd break a hip.
I would
even
too.
At my...
I tried very, very hard to put a lot of variety out there. I'm also always looking for suggestions. These courses are by nature community-based. So if someone has gotten the brochure or if they go out to the website and they don't like what they see or they have ideas for other things, please contact me. Because I'm not offering these for my own gratuity. I want people to see things in here that interest them and that reflect this community.
I think you do a heck of a job. I mean, you have Knit-A-Bear, beginning to knit. That's becoming a dying art form. Embroidering and knitting, people need to learn how to do that and pass it on.
All of those sort of crafty things, stained glass, gardening, we try to put a little bit of all that in there. We also do a lot of professional development type stuff. I'm getting a lot of requests for the working with generations X, Y, and Z, bridging that sort of cultural communication gap. So we do a lot of those types
I just
of
want them to
trainings.
pull their pants up. Everything else I can handle.
One day at a time.
But gardening, too. I know a lot of people right now who have little herb gardens in their homes. They like to cook with fresh herbs or something, or just have a little bitty garden in maybe a room with a skylight.
This mini gardening thing is really cool. It's another one of those things I didn't know existed. But they'll take a very sort of small pot and sort of build like a whole little garden, like your backyard in miniature. And it's very sort of zen. And also, a lot of us are downsizing, and so if you're living in a space where you don't have a big yard, you can still sort of have that relaxation component that gardening gives you. And they do the little mini herb gardens or, all sorts of things, but in miniature. Very cool.
Very cool. And I know that we have Let It Grow here in town, too, that'll show you how to do things hydroponically.
Yes. So that, and again, that may be something that we do in the future. We talk every semester about all the cool things we could do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, keep it going, because it's a great list. How do they contact you if they have suggestions or they want to take a class?
Sure. The easiest way is if you go to the website, www.cmo.edu. There's a visitors tab on the side, and continuing ed is right off of there. You can email me or call me directly. My direct extension, 573-986-7399.
Okay, Christy Mershon, she's the Assistant Director at Southeast Missouri State University's Extended and Continuing Education. Those spring 2012 programs available now. Thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
See you in your yard soon.
Yeah, hopefully be warm enough.
See you then.